Hello everyone, it's Deb Floros of Deb Loves Jewelry. Let's open up the SoftFlex Company Design Challenge Kit Wild Mushroom. I look forward to these every month. They always have fun things, inspiring things to work with. This one did not disappoint. I think this one has really kind of some boho kind of beads, boho themed pieces, and I always love the packaging. It's always perfectly matched to the theme. So let's see what we've got. We have a bag of beautiful goodies as usual. I'm so excited about all of this, and I think this might be my new favorite color of SoftFlex. This butterscotch is a really cool color, very good for any kind of bohemian styling. There's some check beads, some ceramic beads. Look at that little owl and the clasp. Oh, and these wood beads are my absolute favorites. They are super cool. Definitely going to use those. We've got some more check glass. Ooh, those colors are so dreamy. Really, really cool. And there's a little tiny mushroom bead. So very cute. That would be fun for just about anything. And I'm putting all of these pieces out for some inspiration. We've got some copper findings and some copper crimps. And the Jesse James Beads Mix Wild Mushroom has lots of fun corresponding colors and shapes and really cool things. I love that little square bead. Oh, this crystal is so beautiful. There are some bead caps. So many fun things to work with. I love that color and that color. So let's get everything laid out. I'm not exactly sure I'm going to use those, but I just love them. I want to stare at them. I'm definitely going to use these check beads. They are super rustic and really fun. I picked out two colors of my own seed beads from my stash, two different shades of like bronze and gold. And I'm going to start by using some 2-inch head pins. And I'm going to add my wood beads, some of my wood beads to those, but you will need something at the end of your head pin so the bead does not slide off. So I'm going to use a seed bead and then add my bead and then one more seed bead up top, kind of creating a frame around that bead. And then I'm going to do a simple wire wrap loop. And I'm doing these ahead of time so that I can kind of plan out the focal section of my necklace, and then they are all ready to go for stringing onto my beading wire. Now, admittedly, I had a different design in mind, so you might see a partially completed piece below me there, but I changed my mind as I started working through this, and I ended up creating my focal section before I did any of the other beading up the sides of the necklace. So you see something in the background there. It was my first start. So I'm doing several of these wire wrapped wood beads. So I've got in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. And they're going to be part of the focal section of the necklace. I'm also wire wrapping those really cool, big, kind of twisty round beads that were in the Jesse James Beads Mix and those purple squares. So all of those, I did some wire wrapping, just a basic wire wrap. You need round nose pliers, a cutter, and some chain nose pliers to hold on to your piece and straighten out and tuck in your little excess of wire. So I'm doing some of that wire wrapping, getting all of those prepared and ready. And there they are on the mat, all ready to go. And I'm going to lay them out in the order that I want them to hang on my necklace. These are all going to be in the front, all going to be the focal section. And what we'll need to make sure we think of is how the other beads will work with those and what beads will go in between those drops on the necklace, making sure that the drops don't crowd each other. So I am using seed beads as my spacers. So I've got those two different colors. And when I'm starting this necklace, I'm starting it from the very center. So I don't always design that way, but I felt like because the way this necklace has all of those dangles in the front, different sizes, I wanted to be able to work with that first to make sure I got that right before I started to add anything further. So I do a seed bead on either side of my drop, and those seed beads are the same color. Then I'm going to add one of those cool rustic check beads, then another seed bead, then my yellow drop or my golden drop, and another seed bead next to it. So the seed beads that are surrounding these drops are the same tone. And then we'll start to bring in that second tone when we start building out the rest of the necklace. So those check beads are going to create some separation for my drops. And you'll want to, anytime you do this, think about how your beads are going to hang so that they're not crowding each other, bumping into each other. These are very, very close. And I always hold out to the very end when I hang the piece to test it out to see if I'm actually going to stay with the distancing in between the beads. You could add more seed beads, you could add larger beads, and because this kit contains so many beautiful beads, so many options, you could pick different beads to go in between all of your drops in this design if you choose to make one like this. So I'm just taking each one of the drops, they'll have a seed bead on either side of it, and then that rustic check bead that is a divine color is going next, and then the next drop after a seed bead. So I really like this combination of colors, of textures, of shapes, just super, super cool. And I'm really getting boho vibes with all of this colorway. It's very, very bohemian and would go great with like some layered, maybe some wood necklaces, some metal, antique brass. I'm thinking this would go with a lot of really cool layered necklaces. And this one is going to be a fairly short necklace, kind of collar length, but you could certainly lengthen this up, make it a little bit longer because there are more beads to work with. You have lots of opportunity to lengthen this piece. So I'm loving how this is coming together. I'm now creating the other half, the other side of the focal section. And you could orient these completely different. You could do a smaller section by just maybe using one of those yellow beads, and maybe that's the exact center point. My center point is one of those wood beads. So that's the way I chose to do it. I think it looks really interesting and organic and fun. So there we've got this focal section. It's coming together right now, and I love how this looks. I'll just need to add one more check bead on the right, but oh, so very cool. Then I'm going to add two more drops. I didn't add those in the beginning, but I added two more drops of the wood. Then I started up the sides and I grabbed those really cool teardrop beads. I really never met a teardrop bead I didn't love. And then I am working from both sides because I'm coming up with this design as I go. I'm working on both sides. So putting a few beads on one side and then replicating it on the other. You could use a bead stopper while you do this if you'd like, or just be very careful and make sure that you're not spilling beads off of one side of your necklace. I'm turning it to the side now. I'm introducing those wood beads again as I go further up the necklace and making sure that I'm including some shades of yellow and some shades of purple that will tie back to all of those focal pieces in the center of the necklace. And there are so many beautiful beads to choose from, so it wasn't hard for me to pick the pretties to go there. And I'm also bringing back in a couple of those check beads, those rustic check beads, because they are also very much part of that focal section of the necklace. And then the very last bead I added was one of those tiny little sparkle beads, purple sparkle beads. I'm adding bead stoppers now, and I grabbed a toggle clasp from my stash and a couple of the crimp tubes from the design kit. And because SoftFlex is such beautiful wire, you don't need to cover it up, and it's also very sturdy, so it will be perfect for this kind of an application. So I put the wire back down through the crimp and through that first sparkle bead and crimped the first side. Then I'm letting gravity take hold and making sure there's no gaps in any of the beads. And now adding my crimp tube to the other side and the other half of my toggle. Then I'm going back down through that crimp tube and through that first sparkle bead, and then just pulling down until I get a very nice sized loop. You don't want to choke down on your toggle clasp. You want that to have some movement. So make sure you're holding your wire and your wire is not crisscrossed, and get your crimp done in both channels of your crimping pliers. Trim off that excess, and then you've got a really beautiful bohemian collar necklace, great for layering. I am just crazy about the colors and all of the beautiful shapes and textures of this necklace. Incredible. I was just so inspired to use all or as much as I could in this piece to get all of those luscious bohemian colors. This is my wild mushroom necklace. I hope you enjoyed making it. You can find the wild mushroom design kit at softflexcompany.com, and they have many more design kits coming. You will want to see each and every one of them. Thank you so much for watching. Deb of Deb Loves Jewelry out.